What is up, hotties? Welcome back to another episode of Stay Hot. I'm BLAIDEN Kirk, joined as always by my two favorite co-hosts of all time in Matthew Sponhour and THEO Ash. We have a great episode planned for you all today. We're going to, of course, talk about Summer League because why else would we be in Las Vegas this time of year other than to talk about the NBA Summer League. We're also going to make predictions for another division in the NFL. Today we're going to look at the NFC North, and we're going to finish with a question of the week from our chalkboard. But before we get into all that, Matt, THEO, we're in Las Vegas. How are you guys doing?
Matt, we got to tell the phone story,
phone story.
The phone story.
I'm not sure I know what you're talking about. Man.
I guess maybe we don't have to. Tell the phone story.
I lost. We went out last night, and I woke up this morning and I didn't have my phone, which is a horrible realization. And I like pretty quickly accepted. I thought that it was just gone forever. Like I wasn't ready to try it. Like I didn't even know how Find My iPhone works, but THEO set that up, and it was a whole process with that because we tried calling it a couple of times in the morning, but then it didn't work. So we were just like, well, we see where the phone is on Find My iPhone. We're gonna go to the phone and like knock on the door of this person's house. Except if you lose your phone in an Uber, and you look where it is, it might move because Ubers drive around.
Well, I assumed yes. You lost your phone in an Uber, and like we realized that the next morning. And I text, because I'm the one who ordered it. So I text the Uber driver from yesterday and be like, yo, I think my friend lost a black iPhone, like black case in your car. Do you have it? And like as content creators, like it's kind of tough to operate without one.
You need your phone.
So we needed it like ASAP. We needed it a little like quick. Plus, it's just like peace of mind of having it, right? Like the longer it goes, it might run out of battery or whatnot. And we couldn't see where it is anymore on my iPhone. So that's why I wasn't waiting for him to like get off of his shift. I was just like, we should just, because it seemed like it was staying in one spot for a while. So I'm like, maybe it's just at his, like he's not working today. And it's like,
right.
So I was like, because it didn't seem to be moving for a while. So that's why we decided to like go to the phone, and then it moved. And then for some reason, we're dumb as rocks, and we didn't put together that he was out driving.
Well, it was funny because like it moved, and our thought process was, well, let's go there then, except it was a gated community.
Yes,
right.
So we couldn't get in.
We got turned down from the gated community, and then we thought, what if we called it again? Maybe this time.
Yeah, we tried to call it twice, and it didn't work, and we just. Abandoned
at like 9 a.m.
We like abandoned this strategy. I don't know. We're dumb.
I feel like we should have just called like once every hour.
BLAIDEN, but last night you saw DJ Diesel, aka
I did see Shaquille O'Neal live in the flesh. He's a pretty good DJ, even though I don't know of how much is actually him DJing versus how much might be like set up beforehand. But like, it was a fun experience. I had a good time.
Yeah. No, it was a good time here in Vegas at the Shaq's pool party.
Shaq's pool party.
We were talking about this before the podcast starts. The Summer League thing.
Oh, the question. Yeah. The hypothetical.
Okay. So you know how like, you'll hear people talk about, can the best college team beat the worst pro team in like football or basketball or whatever? No, they can't. Right. The answer is like, obviously, no, it's really not that fun to talk about. But could the best college team beat a Summer League team or a Euro League team?
I think EuroLeague, I've never, like, to be honest, I do not watch that much EuroLeague. I think that definitely these EuroLeague teams could like do some damage in college, like basketball. And I think that part of when it comes down to Summer League, because I was wondering this when we were watching, Paulo, right? He played at Duke, and watching him on the Magic, I'm like, the supporting cast around him is not as good probably as a supporting cast at Duke, right? I think that a high-level college basketball team, especially if we're going to talk about like, this is some Star Wars or Batman, like hypothetical argument, like what's the time to prepare? How much time do they prepare?
But that like, does matter to an extent, because it's like, oh, even if the supporting cast is a little bit better, if they've only played together for 3 days.
Right. I think a college team would blow the doors off a Summer League team. I do. I think like, yes, everybody there is like potentially like NBA caliber, but like not really. And it's like they have like 4 sets that they'll run and 4 plays that they'll run. Like a college team is a team. It's a team. It's a unit. They went through like shit together for a long time, and a summer league team doesn't have that. I think like most tournament teams would beat most summer league teams.
Oh, I don't know if I would
maybe not most tournament teams, but like any like top 4
Final
seed,
4, I think would definitely.
The Sweet 16, I think, could beat maybe not a Cinderella
So you'd
story,
say, okay, I was about to say, so does that mean St. Peter's?
Yeah, I don't think St.
is
Peter's
winning.
is beating
I feel like there's a pretty big gap between like the best and worst summer league team, no?
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, some of these teams like have Josh Giddey playing for the Thunder, and with Chet, like that would be that could probably win the NCAA tournament, maybe that team. But some of these other ones, like the Suns, led by Ish Wainwright, I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. Like the Cavs, we saw the Cavs today. I didn't think they looked like that good. I don't know if I'd bet on them to like run through that bracket.
Yeah, the Cavs.
I could be wrong. Maybe I'm just underestimating, the talent on summer league rosters, but I don't know. And if they had time to prepare, and we were like talking about them going through a full season.
The one advantage I will say that like summer league guys have is you see a lot of guys come out here and they just hustle. I mean, they just work and they get after it. So yeah, I do think that would serve some advantage. Like we were watching the Cavs Nuggets today. There were 2 players, 21-0 on the Nuggets, that just kept, I thought just kept getting after it.
Would you describe them as sneaky, athletic, scrappy players?
You can just say that they're white.
They're white guys.
But like that's
it's interesting that you'd point those 2 out.
Okay, what about yesterday when we were watching
23 on the Kings?
Not 20, not LeBron and Kevin Durant on the. I was talking about what was it, 41, 30, and 56.
Yeah, they were. No, I thought Orlando's
hustlers.
team was pretty strong yesterday. They had a lot of guys who were really getting after it. So I don't know. I think there's definitely a summer league team that would not beat Kansas.
I think so too.
Well, I think for sure.
If you were to put a summer league team in college basketball and they played through an entire season, I think no doubt they would get to the tournament, but I do not think they would win the whole thing.
Or like, yeah, I think if you want to look historically, like Duke when they had Zion and RJ Barrett and Cam Reddish, they for sure would not lose to every summer league team.
Oh, so no doubt. Coached by Coach K, yeah, no doubt. But I do think like a lot of these summer league teams would do a decent job. But anyway, I digress. I thought that was, and I think EuroLeague, I can't say as much because I haven't watched a lot of EuroLeague. But I mean, I think that there's some very legit teams that are better than college basketball teams over there, and probably better than all these summer league teams as well. So maybe not all of them, but I think, I don't know. I guess I can't speak for the EuroLeague, but anyway.
Fair enough. Maybe you should speak for the EuroLeague.
Yeah.
No. We did see Myles Garrett today.
Yeah, we saw him briefly. We didn't talk to him. We just looked from afar.
Actually, I got to talk to him, and he confirmed that the Browns are going to win the Super Bowl.
That didn't happen.
But he didn't say anything about week 1.
He didn't say anything about week 1.
Noticeable.
Oh, no. He said he is, he doesn't care who is starting at quarterback. He is getting 5.5 sacks.
He'll be blocked by who is the Panthers starting left tackle that week 1? Is it? Icky, right. He'll be, that's tough. That's tough for Ikwanu. Anyway, we did see.
That is a really tough.
We did see Myles Garrett at Summer League today. That was our big Summer League highlight. James Wiseman played. He may still be playing, honestly, at the time we're recording this right now. And he looked, we had to go watch Myles Garrett and the Cavs, but he was draining some threes and had a nice lob off a pick and roll. So that was nice.
Yeah,
to see.
he is. James Wiseman is not as bad as people have made him out to be. I understand. I don't think that LaMelo's better. Obviously, yeah, they messed up the pick, and he's been injured. However, I think people have like totally written him off as like a player who could contribute to the Warriors at all, and I think that's wrong. So I'm actually thinking that could be a pretty big get for Golden State.
I mean, he's a 7-footer who can hit three. I mean, like, I'm trying to think of the guys who went after like LaMelo. Like, could Wiseman have a better career than like? He's not going to have a better career than Edwards or LaMelo, but I definitely still think like he could have a better career than picks like most of the picks like 4 through the rest of the lottery, right? Like I don't think that's
That's not unreasonable.
There's Patrick Williams, right? He went number 4, didn't he? And some other guys. I don't think that's reasonable to say. So definitely good news for Warriors fans to see him looking like that. Okay, here's Patrick Williams, Isaac Okoro, Onyeka Okongwu,
I believe in you, Theo.
Killian Hayes, Obi Toppin, Denny Avdija, Jalen Smith, Devin Vassell, Halliburton, Kira Lewis, Aaron Nesmith, Cole Anthony. Like, how many of those guys could James Wiseman still be better than? Probably like most of them, honestly. So
yeah,
it could be like, I think that's definitely still a salvageable situation. And I think that was kind of my biggest takeaway from Summer League today.
Fair enough.
I agree.
All right. Do we want to talk about the NFC North?
Yes, more than anything, I want to talk about the NFC North.
You're a Green Bay
Bay Packers.
Guy.
Look, we were recognized at Summer League, and someone turned around and said, "Theo, are the Packers winning the Super Bowl?" And I said, "Yes." Devontae Adams was holding us back all those years that we lost in the NFC Championship game. Finally, we're rid of that team cancer. I'm sorry, Devontae.
Dude can't even say it with a straight face.
No, I love Devontae. Look, the Packers, I guess I'll start with them just because, they're my team and all. I think that my number one Packers takeaway is Allen Lazard. Draft him in your fantasy leagues. I promise you, I'll bet my life that Allen Lazard is having double-digit touchdowns this year. He's the Packers wide receiver 1. And I think that's the first thing you got to talk about with this offense and with the team in general is just like what is the passing offense going to look like without Devontae this year. To me, I think I don't know who's going to step into that kind of X receiver role and just be able to like win one-on-ones on the backside of the play, because I look at Christian Watkins, who they spent a lot of draft capital on, but I think of him as more of a 1-for-1 Marquez Valdes-Scantling replacement with his speed and just kind of his general size and everything. I think he could be a really unstoppable deep threat eventually, but right now, like as a nuanced route runner, like no, he's a lot more like Marquez Valdes-Scantling than he can block too. So shout out him for that. People don't talk about his blocking. I'm scared. Is it going to be? I'd love to see the team sign Julio Jones. I would be a perfect signing at this point. I still think Julio is good. It's a contending team. That's just a match. I don't know why he's not on the team right now. Watkins could maybe do it. He's been a decent route runner in the past and someone who you don't really think of as necessarily a field stretcher, but someone who's solid in a lot of different areas. So I wonder if he's going to kind of take on that kind of X receiver role. Lazard more as kind of a power slot type of dude because he's so good at blocking. And then, as the Z, we've got Watkins, or Watson. Anyway, it's kind of a rough look though, I would say. And I'd say even Aaron Rodgers, as good as he is going to see a pretty substantial drop off in efficiency without a wide receiver who he can just rely on over and over again. And I think that it's going to be one of the better defenses in football, just looking at that top to bottom. But the offense, I truly am a little bit worried about what that's going to look like with the passing game. I just don't think we have a...
I think your receiving core is really the only thing that you're worried about, right? I mean, look at like...
I'm really worried about it. Like, I just don't see how we can win the Super Bowl. Like, if this is a team with championship window right now, and it's so close to closed, and it's like, we just can't... Once we hit the playoffs and hit these good secondaries, like, I just don't know how they'll be able to move the ball through the air effectively. It is... I think it's going to sink them eventually. I do. But...
there's still ways to deal with that problem, though. Of all the problems to have, that's probably the one you can really fix. And there's always like there's so many receivers. Like, obviously, you just name guys you can sign. You can trade for somebody. So I think that if it really is as bad as maybe you're worried it's going to be, if the Packers have such a small window, they can probably be aggressive and fix it to some extent.
I mean, we saw what the Rams did midway through the season. They went and got Odell, and that was also a little bit of luck that he became available. But, you're probably going to have, that opportunity to, if Julio Jones is available throughout the season, maybe you pick him up.
Right? Yeah, I'd love to see a trade. I would love to see a trade. I'd love to see the Julio signing. As far as the other positions go, I think that the Packers probably have like definitely two top 15 running backs on their roster, right? And Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon. Dillon didn't break off a ton. I don't think he's super fast and doesn't break off a lot of long chunk plays, but the dude just... Both of them, they never like lose yardage. They never are tackled for a loss, and they're just so efficient as running backs. So I think that they're going to have the most efficient running game, maybe in all of football, or at least up there. I think they're going to have one of the best defenses in the league because of, just look at that team. It's stacked. It is stacked. Plus, they play the AFC East with Mac Jones and Tua and Zach Wilson, and the NFC North has like Jared Goff and Justin Fields. Like there's like maybe those guys take like a big leap, maybe, but when you're looking at it right now, the opposing schedule of quarterbacks that they've got is not striking fear in my heart. So I'm thinking like top 5 running game, top 5 defense, top half of the league passing offense. I think Rodgers can carry them to like borderline, top 10, maybe around something like that. That's still a very, very strong team there. And I think that it'll come to bite us in the playoffs if we don't make a move. But overall, I think they'll still win the division. Yeah. And I think that there's still one of the teams to beat in the NFC.
What's their under over?
Yeah, it's 11.5. That is...
I would take
the over.
What's their schedule looking like?
Okay,
it's pretty easy.
It's pretty. Yeah, they go San Francisco, which you're like, oh, that's a tough game, but it's Trey Lance's potentially first game as a starter, or it's Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yeah, well, San Francisco always beats us. They'll win that game. I promise.
Oh wait, that's preseason. My bad.
Yeah,
regular season.
Yeah, I was like, I don't remember that being a season opener.
Minnesota,
the Vikings,
Minnesota, Chicago, Tampa, New England, Giants, Jets. Commanders, Bills, Lions, Cowboys, Titans, Eagles, Bears.
That was actually kind of a tough stretch there. Bears,
Rams, Dolphins, Vikings, Lions.
All right, we tie the Rams and win all the other games.
I mean, how many really 16, tough games? You have Bills,
Tampa, Eagles, Rams.
Yeah.
I would say are like I think the Vikings we could go 1-1 on there. I don't know. I think like 10, 11 wins is pretty easy to say. I think I might go the under there. I think 12 is reaching a pretty high ceiling for them. I think like 10, 11, but I feel like pretty good about saying that. Like it's not, I think like, I guarantee.
I think you're being way too harsh on them.
I think you are too. I think this is like an easy 11.
What did I say? 12. I think I actually picked them when I first saw the schedule to go 12-5.
I think 12 wins is super doable.
Look
at that. You probably feel. I'd say you feel pretty good about their. If they didn't get 12 wins, it'd be a disappointment. I'll put it like 3, that. Right.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I count 11 like very like games that I would pick for them to win.
Right. Easily. And the receivers are bad, but their defense is fantastic. They still got the offensive line. They still got Aaron Rodgers.
They'll be good. I think they'll win the division. I don't know. I think like. The world, if you were to run the season 1,000 times, the worlds where they win 12 and above versus the times they go like 11 and below, I think that there are more that they go like hover around 10, 11 than like 12, 13.
I mean, that is why the line's 11.5.
Yeah, well, that's 11, right? 11 would be the under.
Right.
And I think like 11 is like very, very, very possible. 10, 11.
I mean,
that's
11, I mean, it's definitely possible. You have some tough games. Philly's a tough game. LA's a tough game.
Yeah.
And really Dallas, I think, isn't like, it's not a gimme. Tampa, obviously. So yeah, I mean, they could. I would take the over, personally. I think, Matt, you would agree.
I'm taking the over.
I'm taking the over. But Theo, if you want to take the under, you always want to bet against your team.
Yeah, right.
It's good business.
All I can do is bet the under, right? If I'm wrong, awesome. If I'm right, tell them to bring me my money. So you guys are Ohio State fans, moving on to the next tee. Mm-hmm. So I know that you are somewhat invested in the success of one Justin Fields for the Chicago Bears. Mm-hmm. Seeing what they've done this offseason, how do you feel about that potential?
Not great.
How do you feel about Justin Fields?
Not great at all.
Bad, right? Oh God, I feel bad.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it a little bit earlier today. When you have a quarterback on a rookie contract, it's something that lets you be really aggressive. And the Bears have been not very aggressive, have they?
No, yeah.
I don't feel great about their offensive line. I don't feel great about their receivers. I think they've put Justin Fields in a bad position to succeed. And I do feel a little bit like, I know he was in a bad position last year, but Fields wasn't super, super impressive himself. So I wouldn't be surprised if the Bears were like the worst team in football.
Yeah, their line is set at 6.5. I'm taking the under on that without like blinking an eye. It's like no question about it. I'm taking.
I've already bet the under on the Bears as soon as that came out. I'll be honest with you. I have I have pretty heavy money invested in the Bears under 5.5. All right. So I think that they could be the worst team in football. Yeah. Look, man,
they don't have a lot of very good
The cupboard
players.
is so bare. Like Velus Jones, they drafted out of Tennessee, like Velus Jones. He is like 25 or 26 years old, and he's still like not that good of a wide receiver. It's like, what is this?
Almost as bad as the when the Browns drafted Brandon Whedon.
Yeah, it's so bad. And then it's like literally any other wide receiver but him. And I liked, the picks in the second round. They got two good players for their secondary, but you got a rookie quarterback who you are on the brink of ruining. And they were like, Byron Pringle, there you go. Equanimous St. Brown, there you go. I mean, there's just no way
Julio Jones was on the table. Odell's available.
Yeah, there's just maybe even if you don't win, just like get him an infrastructure where he can develop. Like there's just no chance. There's no chance that this works out for them well. Like I truly believe like they're like Khalil Mack gone. Eddie Goldman isn't like a huge player, but they let him walk. They might trade Robert Quinn. It's like they're just going full rebuild mode when they have a quarterback that
they gave up on. Like they've pretty much like given up on him. It's
weird. It's super weird.
It would have been hard. I feel like they did the bare minimum. Like they did get him new receivers, technically. But yes,
they did.
But this is like the smallest, amount of assets they could have possibly put into it, and they're trading away guys and for just draft picks and stuff. Yeah, it's not. They're not trying to build themselves up right now.
And it's weird. It's weird, especially when you consider like Matt Nagy is not safe. Like at all.
He's not the head coach.
Or not. Shoot, Matt Nagy.
Eberflus is their head coach.
I would say Eberflus isn't safe.
I mean, it's his first year as a head coach.
So why are we totally changing? Like, I don't understand. I don't understand the logic of like completely like revamping everything. As like a new
under a first year head coach,
you have a rookie quarterback and a first year head coach. Why would you just be like, okay, let's just?
I don't think that's my problem with it. I think the team just sucks. I think
the team can just.
They don't have like they don't have a lot of
about it. No,
they're not going to win very many.
Yeah,
games.
I mean, I think like as far as the coach goes and the Eberflus hire, I think that he's more of a CEO type of role. I don't think that Eberflus his defenses in the past have been pretty vanilla. Pretty safe. They've never been one of the elite units in the league, but they've never been one of the bottom tier units in the league. It's a lot of zone coverage. I remember during the pandemic year, defenses got off to such a horrible start with the lack of training camp and all of that and all this stuff that didn't happen in the offseason. And defenses were just getting torched right away. And his unit was one of the only ones that was half decent that year. And I think it's just because it's pretty safe. And in there, like, there's not that much that like, and with their personnel, I could say like maybe that's good because I don't think there's a ton of talent. So it's like maybe it's good to just be kind of like not manning everybody up because you're probably going to lose. Although the secondary could be worse, I suppose. But like you're not. We'll see. Or maybe you do want to turn up the heat if you don't have the talent.
I don't know. That's the Miami strategy. Was like they lacked kind of the high level talent in a lot of places early on when they first started. But like when they were able to send a lot of pressure and do that kind of Patriot-esque defense. And the Patriots do the same thing, actually. It's really the Patriot system. But yeah, no, the Bears bad.
Yes, I would say so.
You said you already bet the under on it, Theo?
I bet the under on it as soon as I could.
I'm going to bet the under on it as soon as I can.
Yeah, I would say so. They brought in Luke Getsy, who came from Green Bay, to be the offensive coordinator. So I guess like Getsy, my opinion on him is, I mean, he's fine, right? I think he's fine. If he brings in kind of those like Matt LaFleur type of tendencies and Shanahan-y type of tree tendencies, like I think that could elevate Fields because Nagy really gave him nothing to like. They just didn't give him any layups. Like a lot of the easy stuff that you design for quarter, like there just wasn't a lot of that for Fields. So that'll be good.
But even if you can design some layups, it's like layups to who?
Anyone really. David Montgomery. Like the thing about layups is you don't need to like the most. Obviously, it helps if you have like a Deebo Samuel, but just get the ball. Like just get quick play action screens, like stuff like that. Just get it into the hands of some kind of Byron Pringle is legitimately promising and pretty good after the catch. Like I don't know. Getsy's good with RPOs and stuff like that, and just kind of like so maybe there'll be more layups for Fields. I think Fields is still like I still have some hope for Fields. But yeah, this is just not the place for a quarterback to develop this type of offense. I think they'll be one of the worst, maybe the worst team in football this year.
Yeah, they're trying to do this wacky rebuild, and it's just not the time for it. A team that's doing a great rebuild, though.
The Lions.
The Detroit Lions.
The Lions. Matthew, your team that drafted Matthew Spanauer.
My Detroit Lions. I think there's going to be a lot of people giving the take like, oh, the Lions are actually going to be pretty good this year. And I agree. I think so.
How good?
What's their under over? Six and a half. I'm taking the over. I think they get to 7 wins. They kind of have the perfect storm. They got an easy schedule. They were coming along at the end of last year. I liked their offseason moves. It seems to be like a good team culture, good head coach. You look at like their offense, and honestly, you can see how it could be pretty decent. Their offensive line's really strong. I think Jamison Williams is a pretty big add. Now the receiving core looks pretty solid. And the big thing is like people don't take them super, super seriously because of Jared Goff. And to an extent, like, I agree. But Jared Goff is also not holding them back maybe as much as people think. And like you've seen good teams before with Jared Goff at quarterback. You've seen a team in the Super Bowl with Jared Goff as quarterback. And I know that's not an amazing argument because Blake Bortles has made like an AFC championship game. However, I don't think that limits them in terms of success as much as people might think. Defensively, they're getting there, but I don't know. Did they do anything at linebacker?
They did not really do anything crazy.
That does not make me feel super awesome, which is why I'm not predicting them. I think you're going to hear some people throw around maybe some playoff 7 seed takes. And you can like see the world where that happens, but I'm not going to pick it.
If they play enough bad offenses, I can see a world where they do. I mean, they do play the Bears twice, right? So, I mean, maybe some hope there.
What did they do at safety?
They brought in Deshaun Elliott, okay, and he came in from the Ravens, and I believe he's been one of the most efficient, safeties from like a EPA per target standpoint.
That's going to be a big deal for them. I can't remember who the safety was. They had one really strong safety last year and one guy who was not so hot.
Yeah, I think that they just didn't have NFL talent on their defense like last year. And really their their wide receiving core was just guard. They lucked out that Amon-Ra, not really. Amon-Ra St. Brown was a pretty good player in college, so it's not completely.
That was a nice
player. Yeah, like you just had a bunch of guys in that wide receiving core and on that defense, like God bless them. Like Dan Campbell had them playing their hearts out occasionally, but they just didn't have NFL talent on the field. Now, I mean, yeah, like you said about the offense, I think if you replace Goff with someone like, some borderline top 10 quarterback, Burrow,
Derek Carr.
Burrow, or Dak or Kyler, any of those guys, you would say like, oh yeah, there's no weaknesses on that
THEO,
team.
Bengals fans are not going to like that you said borderline top 10 quarterback and then proceeded to say Joe Burrow.
He is. I mean, look, here's the thing: Rodgers, Mahomes, Herbert, Josh Allen, like Stafford, Lamar, and then there's kind of that group where it's like Kyler, Dak, Burrow. Who am I missing? Kyler, and I'm missing some guys as well.
Kyler,
if you wanted to put like Deshaun Watson in that list, depending, so one of those guys has to get kicked off. Russ. There's top 10. There's 10 guys there that I just named 12. 2 of those guys have to miss the cut. It's probably one of the Kyler, Dak, Stafford, maybe probably not Lamar, Burrow. I don't know. You could rank him in any sort of way, but I'm just saying like he's not a.
And if he's the 10th best quarterback, that's still like borderline.
Yeah, I'm not. This isn't a Joe Burrow debate. I'm just saying, like Bengals fans. I'm not saying. That.
I just wanted to give you a chance to kind of save yourself before the Bengals fans came at your throat again.
Yes, I don't care if they come there. They can't say anything to me that they haven't said already. Fair enough. Whatever. At any rate, like yes, there is no weaknesses outside of quarterback on this offense that I can see. Offensive line, skilled position, quarterback, and yeah, I mean we'll see. We'll see about the defense. It's getting there.
It's definitely going to be better. I mean, they won 3 games last year. They really did. Sometimes I feel like this gets overstated. Like sometimes you just win, like you get hot at the end of the season. But they really did look a lot better at the end of the season than they did at the beginning. And And maybe the Lions are like, okay, we keep talking about these teams that maybe are going to go trade for like one of these quarterbacks, like Kyler or Lamar next offseason. The Lions are definitely a team that is possible for.
Yeah.
Because they're probably not going to be bad enough to draft one of the top guys. So maybe they'll move up. But if they don't, I don't think it's unthinkable.
They did such a great job with the draft this year. 2 years in a row, I think they've had a very good draft. Last year, they got Sewell when he fell to him. They had Levi Onwuzurike, who I actually liked a decent amount at nose tackle, and we'll see if he comes back and does some damage. They doubled up really with, they had Neil, what's his name? Alan McNeil too. They doubled up on interior linemen and they got Amon-Ra St. Brown and all that. They were one of my favorite drafts. And then this year to get Hutchinson and Jamison Williams and some of these other guys, they got one of my favorites, Josh Paschal. So I think they've done a really good job drafting these past couple of years to trade up that as far as they did to get Jamison without giving up a first round pick next year was a really good move. So yeah, I mean, their process has actually been pretty good. Right. Their process has actually been pretty good. And I think pretty soon that you're going to add a quarterback on a rookie deal to this because Goff is actually still pretty expensive and you're going to have even more cap room and freedom to do stuff like that.
But if we're looking at, maybe they're not going to be in a position to draft high enough.
Maybe not.
Because if we're projecting them to go over 6.5, right? That's probably maybe top 10, but probably not.
There's going to be like 6 or 7 quarterbacks that go in the first round next year.
Yeah, it's a really loaded
I think they're going to have a first.
We say that every year.
No, we don't. This year we knew that there weren't going to be that many. I thought maybe we saw like 3. Like I didn't think that this class was going to have that many. Next year is somewhat legit though. I think next year we're going to see about 6. So. Plus, they can trade up. They can trade up or trade for someone else.
They got the ammo for
because it. Next year, Jared Goff won't be the quarterback of this team, and they're going to have a really good infrastructure.
Is Goff a free agent, or
he's just not going to start for 2 more years on this team?
If he's not, I'm saying you could package him in a trade to move up potentially.
Perhaps. Anyway, at any rate, they're going to replace him after this. I think they're going to win double the amount of games that they won last year.
That's still the under.
That's 6. Yeah. That's the under.
I don't know. No, they tied a game. Oh, so that I know that still means it's 6.
They'll go 6, 8 and 2.
Double the amount of ties.
It'll just be double everything. 6.
I think they're going to tie twice next year.
Tie twice next year. I don't know.
I'm buying. They're such like a popular team to be excited about right now. But I think it's valid. I agree. I think. It's not just like Twitter hype. I think they get 7. I believe in them.
They were a fun team last year. I can believe in them being a fun team this year.
I'll say over. Fine. Let's do it.
Why not? Why not? It's a fun team. Let's be fun. Let's be fun here. Stay out.
Yes. As fun as a team with Jared Goff at quarterback can be.
Hey, it may be Jared mid, but I was trying to make a joke off of that, but I couldn't. I'm not funny enough, I fear. But Minnesota. It's the last one.
They're like the Jazz of the NFL. No?
Sort of. I mean, the Jazz are like continually a pretty high seed in the NBA playoffs. Yeah. And the Vikings have not. I heard a stat the other day that the Packers and the Vikings have won the exact same amount of playoff games since 2017, which is kind of funny because like the Packers have been the 1 seed each of the past 2 years. They just go out. They skip the first round and then go out sad. But anyway, shout out Viking fans for digging that one up.
Shout out Vikings fans. The line is 8.5. Do we think they beat that?
Yeah, I do.
Matt?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I'll give them 9.
9. You're always going the 1 over. We got 12, 9, 7, but with the Bears, then it's... How many wins do you think the Bears get? What, 2?
Yeah, 1, 2 probably.
That's bad, huh?
Yeah, if we think they'll be the worst team in football, that's usually how many wins the worst team in football.
Maybe the Falcons are worse. It's them or the Falcons.
I think if you put Pitts would be the best player on the Bears. Easily.
Yeah, I think that is the biggest.
Grady Jarrett would probably be the best players on the Bears.
The Falcons do have at the very top of their depth chart have some nice players.
AJ Terrell would be the best player on the Bears. They've got 3 players that I think would be the best player on the Bears.
Yes, easily. Easily. But yeah, Vikings. The Vikings. I feel like the Vikings haven't changed a whole lot.
They changed the culture. That's where I'm at. I think Zimmer. They said this. They could have moved on from they signed Kirk to an extension. They could have
Yeah.
like not done that, traded him away to the Panthers or something, some team that needed a quarterback. They didn't opt into like a rebuilding thing after some disappointing seasons here. I think they're betting on saying Mike Zimmer was just toxic by the end. Like his welcome had worn, and we have all the talent. We just need kind of a rejuvenation in the locker room. I don't think that's a bad bet. I don't think that that's like an unreasonable thing to expect from the Vikings, because they do have like the high end talent to be one of the better teams in the league.
They do.
And I like Zimmer as a defensive mind a lot. I really do. I think that, he can be tough to work with, but he always did a good job on the Packers and whatnot. And I know that there's probably a lot of quarterbacks in the league who hated playing against his defenses, but I do think that they're going to be a pretty good team this year. I think that with a new coach and kind of a new culture, it's going to be a little bit of a spark. Za'Darius, Daniil Hunter, Justin Jefferson, Cook. I mean, Cousins is pretty good. Harrison Smith, Dalvin Tomlinson, Eric Kendricks. There's a bunch of Pro Bowlers.
Yes, they have ballers. They have ballers on that team.
They sucker me into it every year because they always seem to have that, and they've been underwhelmed.
You do always believe in the Vikings.
I usually,
because they got a lot of high end talent, man. They really do. I'm a Packer fan, but I'm not going to say that they sit here and say that they don't.
No, I'm usually a big believer in Minnesota too, and at 8.5, I feel like an over. I feel like an over is very respectable.
A winning record, yeah. I think Cousins could have a big year in like a Shanahan type of.
Cousins had a pretty decent year last year.
He was like borderline top 10 last year, like he always is, I would say. I thought one thing that was interesting.
He almost made my top 100. He had 33 touchdowns and 7
I'd say like him making your top 100 wouldn't have been a bad place for him at all. I don't think he's like better than Stafford. I think that my whole thing with him is like, and I think everybody's thing with him when you watch him is like, oh, he can't create on his own, right? Like if everything is going right, like unpressured looks, I'm sure that he's one of the best in the league.
How many guys are really doing that? Like,
I mean, unpressured. He is one of the best, like unpressured quarterbacks in the league. But
how many guys are like actually creating when things break down?
I mean,
like
I just listed my top like 12 quarterbers. All of them are doing it.
Right.
I think Lawrence can do it. Even
I think Hurts can do it a
Lance
little bit.
Hurts, but I would still take Cousins over Hurts. That's for sure. Not just being able to create. You think Jalen Hurts is better than Kirk Cousins?
I think he can be. I think he will.
You think he will be better, but then Kirk Cousins next year?
Yeah.
I would bet Kirk Cousins in kind of a McVay type of role. I mean, he played with McVay in Washington, I suppose, and Shanahan, and when they were all coaches in Washington, and he didn't have like the greatest season that year, but I think he's different now. So I think a big year from him and all those Pro Bowlers will be good.
I'll take your word for it. Theo, would you like to let us know who our favorite
the ad read. I don't have the ad read in front of me, but I know it's Trade Coffee. I could go off the dome, but I don't think our sponsors would like that very much. Do you have it up?
I do have it up if you would like to read it.
I would love to read it.
I would read it, but our producer asked Theo to read it. Oh, I'm charging my phone. Our producer asked Theo to read it because he read it last time. So
this podcast is brought to you by the best coffee supplier on the market, Trade Coffee. I am obsessed with my most recent order, and I know you all will love it just as much. Right now, Trade Coffee is offering a quiz to specifically select the perfect blend for you. I took the quiz, and Trade recommended the Red Rooster Star Hill Stout blend, and it is some of the best cold brew coffee I have ever had. There is something about making it yourself exactly the way you like it, and with Trade Coffee's quality ingredients, I always know I'm getting a solid cup of joe. Plus, even if you're not obsessed with your first bag, Trade will take your feedback, and an actual real-life coffee expert will work with you to find a new, better-suited bag for no extra cost. Right now, Trade is offering new subscribers a total of $30 off their first order, plus free shipping when you go to drinktrade.com/stayhot. That's more than 40 cups of coffee for free. Get started by taking their quiz at drinktrade.com/stayhot and let Trade find you a coffee you'll love. That's drinktrade.com/stayhot and let Trade coffee. That's the end.
This dude's trying to like give that.
There's one thing at the end that's like, don't read this, and it trips me up.
Because it's highlighted. It's like
highlighted.
Bright yellow.
Like, only read highlighted portion verbatim.
No. Yeah,
I'm spoiling though. I'm spoiling that I do read those off. I don't make those off. I have had trade coffee though.
It's good. I like
it. It is
it.
good.
I remember Matt and I got in. What was it? Friday night, or we all got in Friday night. But Matt and I have to travel from Ohio, and that 3-hour time difference, it can be a lot.
Some jet lag.
I wish I had some trade coffee.
No, we were literally saying that like Saturday morning because we had to order in groceries. Like, it'd be nice right now is if we had some HelloFresh and some trade coffee.
It is kind of fun to have like, because I drink coffee and I'll buy like the same thing every single time from the grocery store. It is kind of fun to have, because I always like the second I forget that I have the trade coffee subscription, I get a new bag. And then I have like
they know.
I have like it's like they know. I have like 6 or 7 bags of like unique coffee to choose from in the morning.
That's a W.
It's not so bad.
That's a W. Well, the only thing we have left is the question of the week. As per our chalkboard, make sure you're in the chalkboard, by the way, to be involved in the question of the week.
The chalkboard. If we get to 5,000 subscribers on the chalkboard, if 5,000 people join that, I will let the Stay Hot fans decide what I do for an entire day.
What?
I will let them submit activities in a Google sheet, and then people can vote.
THEO.
I will do whatever you guys want.
I'm gonna keep it a stack. That sounds
you're
really
you're gonna have to make some serious rules.
Some
to
asterisks.
Yeah, there.
Maybe you can't make me do anything that will
really bad things.
Kill me or anyone else or get me in jail. But outside of that, I will do. If we get to 5,000 people on there, I will just put a bunch of Twitter polls on my Twitter all day with like options, and I will just do. And all the options will be like from a Google sheet. And I will be your puppet for if we get to 5,000 people on the chalkboard. I'll do that.
Okay, I'll make a deal as well. I actually recorded another song recently. If we hit 5,000 people, I'll release it early instead of releasing it on a second album. But the question of the week, as per our chalkboard, make sure it's in the link in our description of the YouTube. The bio of all of our socials. The question of the week is, if you could go back in time and watch one sporting event or concert live, what would you watch?
Game 7 2016 finals.
That's a good one.
Or concert.
Maybe I'd go to Woodstock or something.
I'd go watch the Denny's mosh pit.
Oh yeah.
Although we got the second angle from that. I don't know if you saw that on TikTok.
There's like 3 now.
There's like new angles.
Yeah,
so maybe I don't have to do that because I've gotten these new looks. But that comes to mind. I don't know. I'd go to something really old. I don't want to go to like 2016.
Or you could,
yes.
Maybe like the most practical thing to do is to go to Wilt's 100-point game and see if you actually like.
True. That's a good one.
That's one that you can't watch any other way. But I don't know, dude. Do you get like, can I pick my seats? Can I be like courtside at game 7?
Why not?
Okay, that's what I would.
There's no restrictions listed on here.
You can bet on, you can fade, Netflix or whatever.
Or
and
if
I get money to do whatever you want.
If I can like choose my seats, I might position myself so where I'm like in like a famous NBA photo.
Ooh. Like you're in the Dwayne Wade, like LeBron, like
yeah,
they're about to throw it down, and all of a sudden Matt is just like,
or like the Kawhi picture with it. Like I could be,
you could
right
be in there. Yes, that's so
I could
funny.
like photo bomb it. Honestly, I could just like run out on the court at the wrong time,
just ruin like the great NBA photos.
What would like when people like what would happen if somebody did that at the end of a game, like during one of those legendary moments or whatever? And they just like, that's the time they pick to run out on the court. Because this happens like every once in a while.
Theo? No, I'm looking up greatest NBA pictures ever to see which one I would like to photobomb.
No, I would definitely pick a concert, and I would pick probably, I don't remember what year it is, but any performance of Gary Moore doing Parisian Walkways live.
Who?
Gary Moore is one of my favorite guitarists of all time. He has this song called Parisian Walkways. The performance of that song, watching it on YouTube, gives me chills. Literally, like, I would kill to see any performance of that live ever. He passed away in 2015. I will never get the chance to see that. So I would opt to see that.
I don't know.
It's not a bad one.
Yeah, it's not a bad one to see like an old musician. I definitely think like going to an OG like Beatlemania's concert.
Or maybe like, no, when Hendrix lit his guitar on fire. That would be sick.
I knew you were
Jimi
gonna say
Hendrix would be.
Hendrix.
Yeah, I think that's a
But
really
I think
good
it's
choice.
valid. Yeah.
I know what photo I would be in though.
Which one?
I would be standing next to Drake in the All-Star Kobe versus LeBron photo. You know the one I'm talking about?
Yes.
I would be standing
Where he
up in
ruined the picture.
where he ruined I'd be standing next to him, also standing up.
I'd be the one. I'd go to the GIF of Drake standing up and like clapping. You know the one, and I would be doing the same thing.
You go to Kanye's acceptance speech of the Grammys.
Yeah, I don't know. I think the photo bombing an old thing is extremely funny. I think like I'm trying to think if there's like any game that just like went like something horrible happened and
You
I'd
could
like, tell him. I'd just be like,
here's what I would do.
I would sabotage.
I would go to the Malice at the Palace game and I would get punched and sue. That's what I would do.
That's such a cop out. We're so far away from the intent of this question.
I'm over here just trying to
I answered it honestly,
like,
though.
Can I bring a phone to Malice of the Palace and get a better angle? Can I record it from like just behind him or something? Can I do that in this hypothetical?
I don't think you can. I don't know. There aren't any restrictions on here, but like at the same time, like let's be a little realistic.
Well, I have my realistic answer,
Yes.
and then I have my.
You're goofy.
Am I allowed to
my
change
silly
history?
Okay, that's fair. I think you can get both of those answers.
I would go to Super Bowl 50 and I'd run on the field and stop it from happening.
Stop Super Bowl 50.
I'd sub out Mike Remmers.
Matt goes to Super Bowl 50
Gonna
and he picks up the fumble.
Yeah,
Tanya Harding, Remmers in the like
I'll
hallway.
I'll go in there and block for him myself. Then Cam Newton would drive down and score a touchdown on that like drive with 6 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, and they'd win 17-16, and all would be well.
Was Cam Irving on the team then?
No.
Okay.
I'd go to a Pop Warner.
think so.
I'd go to a Pop Warner Cam Newton game, and I would say, Cam, you one day there will be a fumble from your blind side, Von Miller. Check your blind side. Super Bowl 50.
I'd go back to a Von Miller Pop Warner game.
Oh, and you'd kill him.
I would heckle him and I'd maybe convince him to play like basketball or baseball or something.
Oh my God, Von, you have such a great catcher's body. You have such a great body.
Wow, you'd be an amazing gymnast.
I think you'd like the NHL much more.
Yeah, I would. Yeah.
Just talks Von Miller out.
I would go. Yeah, I don't know what I would do.
Oh, well. I think that pretty much wraps up the question of the week.
I didn't say which one I would go to, though.
Oh.
I guess I don't know. I have no idea what I would do. I'd go to something really old.
You could go to a really old like football game. You could go way back.
The first Packers game.
I'd go to like a Mozart concert. I don't know. I just want to see what it was like. Like just going way back. Just like way back.
I'm keeping it a stack. Like not to disrespect you, Theo, but I'd much rather go to like
Hendrix.
a rock concert.
Yeah, I don't know. I just think it would be crazy to go way back.
I'm gonna mosh with some like with some Hendrix fans and whatnot. Like,
You moshed with Shaq last night, like Hendrix.
I didn't mosh with Shaq. I moshed
to him. Well, I mean, it's the same thing, right?
I guess.
Yeah. So you had that experience.
he
Hendrix isn't better than Shaq.
Yeah.
Shaq would drop 50 on Jimi Hendrix. All right. I don't know. I would go to something really old though. I'd go to something
I like that
crazy
take.
old.
Are we really? You said Shaq?
Shaq is a better musician than Jimi Hendrix.
Jimi Hendrix is a better musician than Shaq is basketball player.
EJ Diesel, look. Yeah,
that's an interesting way to like frame that question. If you put that on Twitter, I wonder if people would agree.
better.
Absolutely. Jimi Hendrix is the greatest guitarist of all time.
And Shaq is still posterizing him sadly.
He can't shred on a guitar though.
He could. Shaq could do what Jimi Hendrix does.
There's a video of him like
never do it, Shaq.
There's a video of him like what is it, like lip syncing on a guitar. I don't know what the term.
Air guitar.
No, like he has a guitar, but he's like not really playing it. There's like audio playing behind him.
Yeah.
I don't know what the term for that is.
I know this is kind of old news, but I do want to talk about it. The Joey Chestnut versus Usain Bolt.
Oh,
What do you think I thought that was a really good question.
so it's eat a hot dog and then run.
Run 100 meters.
I think Usain Bolt would win.
I agree.
I think Joey Chestnut would win.
You think he would? I guess.
If you have to like complete eating the hot dog,
Swallow it.
yes.
I don't know. Maybe.
I think
100 meters is not that far, I suppose. I don't know. Because guys, if you don't know what we're talking about, it's who could eat an entire hot dog and then take off and run and win the race first? Joey Chestnut. Because how long does it take an average person to eat a hot dog?
See, I have no idea, but I don't think people are like, oh, it'll take 5 seconds. I don't think so. I think it's gonna take a while.
How long does it take Joey Chestnut to eat one hot dog?
Like a
instantly.
millisecond. It's like,
so I don't know. Assuming Joey Chestnut is healthy, of course. He's got like a messed up foot right now, right?
Yeah. But like,
was he listed as doubtful on the Nathan's hot dog eating contest?
I'm just
How do you know
saying.
that? How do you know that? He's listed on the. I saw it on his my fantasy team. My
Joey Chestnut on Matt's fantasy team.
Anyway,
I don't know. I would take Bolt pretty easily.
I have no idea. I don't know enough about how fast. Like, I don't know how long it takes to run 100 meters. Probably what for like Joey Chestnut? Probably 17, 18, 19 seconds.
I think 20 seconds is like a super safe.
Yeah.
But like, even then that's saying that Usain Bolt can finish a hot dog in like 12 seconds, 13 seconds. I don't know, dude.
2, 3,
maybe.
4,
okay.
5,
counting.
6.
That gets me.
7, 8. Yeah, Usain is done with the hot dog at this point. He's taking off. I'm taking Usain Bolt. All right.
Usain Bolt runs a 100 meter dash in less than 10 seconds.
Yes. No, I'm taking Usain Bolt. I think he can finish a hot dog in 8 seconds.
I think Joey Chestnut's got like he's got like a weird level of fame, right? Like he's the most famous person one day out of the year.
Yes.
And then
everyone knows who he is. Yeah. Anyway.
I really have to think about how fast it would take Joey Chestnut to run 100 meters.
We'll tweet it out after. We'll actually like mathematically figure this out afterwards.
Me, the math minor. I'll take care of this later.
Find it. Yeah.
Yeah. But I think that pretty much wraps things up for us. As always, guys, tons of content coming away on all platforms. This episode comes out on Monday, so we're actually going to be live, later, for you guys that are watching later today, but for us tomorrow, we're going to be live for more content. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube, and as always, from Corn Boy, Bird Boy, Lemon Boy, Matt, you still have to come up with new nicknames.
No Phone Boy.
No phone boy. I don't know what. No Phone Boy. Give me some, Theo. Give me some.
Rolling Chair
Boy. Rolling from No Phone Boy, Rolling Chair Boy, and Drinking Water Boy. We will catch you all on the flippity flop.